I'm a 50-year-old man who's been married to my wife, Amy, 48, for over 2 decades, 23 years to be precise. We have 3 kids together, Rachel, 22, Jake, 19, and Ava, 17, soon to be 18. Recently, Amy confessed to me that she'd been cheating on me with her coworker, Matt, 27. I'm using fake names here for obvious reasons. 1 week ago, she sat me down and told me she'd been with Matt for 2 years and finally felt ready to tell me the truth so she could take things to the next level with him. With all our kids being mostly grown up and Ava on the verge of adulthood, she thought it was the perfect time to confess. I was devastated when she told me. Thankfully, none of our kids were home to see me break down. Rachel had moved out for work after college, Jake was in college, and Ava was at a friend's house that day. I suspect that's why Amy chose that day to tell me the truth. When she confessed, I fell apart. I cried and begged her not to leave, pleading for another chance at our marriage. But she told me she could no longer stay and waste more of her time in a loveless marriage. My world was shattered. My first instinct was denial and desperation. I just couldn't accept what she was telling me. I know it wasn't my finest moment, but I was overwhelmed. Amy tried to comfort me while I sobbed, patting my arm and saying things like, "It'll get better," treating me like a wounded puppy instead of the husband she betrayed. After about half an hour of crying, I somehow managed to compose myself. Then I stood up and told her to leave the house because I couldn't bear to have her around anymore. She seemed surprised by my shift from begging her to asking her to leave, and to be honest, I was too. But I meant it. Amy didn't argue. She silently packed a few belongings into an already prepared duffel bag. It was clear she'd planned for this moment. After an awkward side hug, which I didn't reciprocate, she left. Once she was gone, I cried like a baby for hours. Later, Ava came home and found me asleep on the couch with red, puffy eyes. She kept asking what was wrong and where her mother was. Eventually, I told her the truth, even though saying it out loud made it all feel painfully real. Unsurprisingly, I broke down crying again, but Ava comforted me in a way that felt genuine. She was shocked, just like I had been. Ava made several phone calls that evening, informing her siblings and my brother Eric, 45, who's always been dependable. Eric lives far away but drove over immediately. He understood that I needed time to grieve and process everything, so he stayed with us to help out. My kids have also been incredibly supportive, and I'm thankful for them. Over the past week, I've consulted a lawyer and started preparing for the inevitable divorce. I hadn't filed yet because I was waiting for Amy to serve me. However, last night I found out why she hadn't filed yet, despite leaving me. Late at night, Amy called me out of the blue. It was the first time we'd spoken since she left. She sounded distressed, and I could tell she'd been crying. She asked about the kids, and I replied brusquely, trying to keep any concern out of my voice. I didn't want her to know that I still cared, even though I did. After I answered her questions, she broke down crying, which caught me off guard. She's the one who cheated and left, so her tears didn't make sense to me. Before I knew it, I asked if she was okay. That's when she told me the truth. The day Amy left our house, she asked Matt if she could move in with him. He refused. Apparently, Matt wasn't ready for a serious relationship and admitted that he was just messing around with her. He told her that, while she's attractive for her age, she's still 50 years old with 3 kids. That doesn't align with his idea of an ideal future. He wants kids someday and a long life ahead with someone who can provide that. Amy, because of her age, couldn't offer him that. Hearing this left Amy completely broken. She has nowhere to go now and she's devastated. She was crying on the phone for like 15 minutes because now she knew that she'd ruined her life with that affair. And I honestly felt really satisfied with whatever was happening. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking my video. She told me that our kids weren't speaking to her now, and they'd all blocked her everywhere without a word, and that she'd been living in a hotel for the past week because she didn't know if I'd have her back or not. And she was too afraid to ask me. She'd finally broken down and called me yesterday because she couldn't think of what else to do, and obviously, she couldn't just live in the hotel forever. Now, she was calling to ask me if I'd let her live with me and give her one more chance. I was dumbstruck at the sheer audacity to even ask this of me, and within seconds, all my concern and sadness disappeared and were replaced by anger, which really should have happened a long time back. I told her right away that there was going to be no second chance for her, just like she didn't give me one, and that I was glad this was happening to her because she deserved every bit of this for what she'd done. I then hung up without waiting for a reply and turned my phone off so I could go to sleep without thinking about her. I was really pissed off that she'd even thought for a second that, even after what she'd done, she could just come running to me and I'd fix the situation for her like always. We had a lot of ups and downs over the years in our marriage, like any other married couple. I'd always tried to fix every fight, even though she'd rarely ever apologized to me. It was always me chasing after her, trying to make it up to her, even when I wasn't in the wrong. But I'd had enough. I couldn't look past this. I couldn't forget this. And I most certainly didn't even want to, because this was the reality check I needed. I'd always loved my wife more than she'd loved me and more than she deserved to be loved. Don't miss out on the journey to 1,000 subscribers. Hit that subscribe button now and be part of something big before everyone else. But that ended now. Now, I don't think I did anything wrong by asking her to leave the house and refusing to let her come back, because after all, the house is technically mine since I'm the one who bought it. It's under my ownership legally, and she can't force me to let her live there. But she's been trying to manipulate me into believing that I'm being cruel to her somehow. After I finally turned my phone back on this morning, I found several texts from her that she'd sent last night after our phone call. She was furious and acting like the victim because, apparently, I was being selfish and not thinking of her at all. Which is such a strange thing to say after she cheated on me. She's also accusing me of turning the kids against her, which is simply not true because, until she told me about it, I didn't even know that they'd blocked her and were refusing to speak to her. So I don't think that's my fault at all. In fact, I really don't see why any of this is my fault. Maybe it's the anger talking here, but it just seems insane that she's accusing me of being selfish because I don't want to give our marriage another chance after she cheated on me. And then, when she got rejected, came crawling back to me because she thought that I'd just take her back in a heartbeat. I don't think I'm in the wrong here at all, and I also wanted to make sure that I'm not being unnecessarily cruel out of anger in this situation. So I'm turning to you people now. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my wife move back in with me after she cheated on me with her coworker? Update 1. Hey everybody. First and foremost, a huge thanks to every single person who took the time to respond to my original post. I'm actually so thankful that I made that post and realized how badly I was being gaslighted by Amy because she had me questioning my decision to not let her back into my home and my life. I certainly was having second thoughts, and I would have fallen weak had I not posted here. Everyone who responded, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I think you guys saved me from another lifetime of absolute misery and mistrust that would have been inevitable had I decided to forgive Amy and get back together with her. But yeah, I'm back in my senses now, and I know that she doesn't deserve a second chance at all. It's been a couple of days since my original post, and she's been texting me a lot to persuade me to take her back, and has tried almost every tactic, from guilt tripping to gaslighting. She regularly keeps apologizing while saying that she made a huge mistake by engaging in an extramarital affair, and that she'll do her very best to make it up to me. I don't know why exactly she thinks that I'll still take her back, despite her affair, because this is not just some small, petty fight, and she's taking things way too lightly. She still doesn't realize the enormity of what she did to me, and I highly doubt that she ever will get it. I'm feeling a lot better now, so I've sent Rachel and Jake back so they can resume their normal lives. Ava is still living with me and checks up on me from time to time, which I do appreciate, but I told her not to let me hold her back from going out, having fun with her friends, or whatever it is that brings her joy. I know this is a tough time for all of us, but we'll all get through it eventually. She's supposed to move out for college in the fall as well, so I want her to make the most of her time here. My brother is still living with us though, and I'm really thankful for it. I spoke about the emotional impact of the affair and Amy leaving me at length, but there are also practical day-to-day activities that have also been affected by her leaving. These seem a little petty, but are also a constant reminder of her absence. Now that Amy's gone, we needed someone to take over her share of chores. She's the one who usually used to do all our laundry, because she said she enjoyed it. The kids and I used to keep the house clean, take out the trash, and do the dishes, while Amy used to do the laundry and cooking, because that's what she enjoyed doing. But now it's up to me and Eric to take over, because Ava is busy with her own life, and I wasn't going to keep her home just to help out with chores. My brother has been a godsend ever since he came here, and even though he's not very emotional or affectionate, he's been there for me and has made me feel like I can let go a little, which is something I feel like I really needed. I know he'll have to go back to his life at some point, but I'm lucky that he's here for me now. Speaking about the legal aspect of things, my lawyer and I have already filed for divorce. We went ahead with a petition yesterday after I realized that now that Amy had nowhere to go, she wasn't going to file for divorce anymore because she wanted to come back. Now she's going to be served in a couple of days, and then the real battle begins. It's already exhausting for me to even think about it, so I can only imagine how much more mentally taxing it'll be when I actually have to go through it all. I never imagined that I'd have to get divorced, and yet here we are. It's a horrible feeling, but there's just nothing else I can do anymore. At least I'll know that I did my very best to keep the marriage intact, and that whatever is happening right now isn't my fault, it's hers. So I don't need to feel like crap about what happened. I'm also grateful that my kids are all grown up now, because I don't think I could have handled a custody battle alongside the divorce. Update 2. Amy was served with the divorce papers today, and I don't think she took it well, if the texts she sent me are any indication at all. I haven't blocked her because I haven't found the mental strength to cut her off entirely just yet, but I will soon. She sent me several vile messages about things she wishes would happen to me, because, according to her, I'm the one who ruined her life, and I'm just taking revenge on her for trying to have a little bit of fun so she could distract herself from her boring, monotonous life. She told me that I'm almost 50 and look like it too, and she just wanted a change of scenery. The thing about me looking my age is fair, because I quit going to the gym ages ago and my hairline is receding. But I think that's just because, like any other normal human being, I'm also aging. I'm the father of 3 kids, and almost all of them are adults now, so I think it's natural for me to look my age. It's not even like I'm ugly or unhealthily obese. I have kept in decent shape for my age. But if she wants me to look the same way I did back when we got married in our early 20s, then that's going to be an issue. I don't think it's humanly possible to look the same age unless you're a celebrity and can afford to spend all your time and money on maintaining your looks throughout the years. Of course, she finds Matt more physically attractive than me, but that's where the whole marital commitment comes in. If she couldn't exercise any control over herself and flung herself at the very first somewhat young guy whom she found attractive, then that's not my fault. It's kind of pathetic that she's still trying to shift the blame onto me and make it look like what she did was fine and that I should have been the one to fix myself. But that's just how she is, I suppose. Only now am I finally seeing all the red flags I've been ignoring for over 20 years out of love for my wife. But now that she's my soon-to-be ex-wife, I realize what kind of a human being she is, and I feel like an idiot for never acknowledging any of this before. I should have known, but I chose to ignore it all because I loved Amy. And even now, somewhere deep down, I know that I still do, which feels pathetic and embarrassing to admit, but I can't help it. That's really what has prevented me from blocking her and cutting her off entirely so far. But I'm just praying that I find the strength to do it soon enough, because I don't think I can keep up with her insanity anymore. I don't want to see more of whatever this side of hers is. I won't call it her evil side, because what she's doing is beyond that. It's cruel to the point of hilarity, if that's even a thing. Update 3. There's been a very ironic turn of events, but thankfully, it doesn't affect me directly. I learned from my daughter Rachel a couple of hours ago that, as of now, Amy is having online drama with Matt, because yesterday she posted a rant about how Matt had led her on for 2 years and then eventually dumped her because he didn't see a future with her. Now that I think of it, it was pretty stupid of her to abandon her life without even discussing these things with him first. I'm not a cheater. But at least, she should have thought things through before going headfirst into this whole relationship thing with Matt, and at least asked him if he wanted the same things as well. Coming back to the post, a couple of other female coworkers also commented on that post and said that he'd also been involved with them. So essentially, that guy was pretty much the office mattress and had never loved Amy at all. I didn't believe in karma earlier, but this is just karma at its finest, and I can't believe that this is happening to her. I blocked her, and so has Rachel, but she found out from a cousin of hers who obviously still has Amy added, because we haven't announced our separation to the rest of the family just yet. But I think that post in itself does the job well. I'm still going to tell my own family soon, but before that, I just want to relish the drama that she's caught up in and take a step back to admire the crapfest Amy has walked into. That Matt guy truly deserves a round of applause, because I really can't imagine anyone being able to pull off multiple affairs in the same office for more than a year. I hated him initially when I learned that Amy had been cheating with him on me, but now I think I'm warming up to him. I might even congratulate him and tell him well played or something, I don't know. All I know is that this is the perfect payback for what Amy did to me, and it really is just a perfect example of the repercussions of cheating and ruining your perfect life just for a little bit of fun, as she put it herself. At least I'm going to be out of this mess in her life soon enough now, and I can't wait for the divorce to come through at this point. Update 4, it's been a little over a month since my original post, and we're currently in the negotiations phase for the settlement. It's incredible how I now look at her and feel absolutely nothing for her anymore. She smiles at me sometimes during the meetings and tries to talk to me after them, but I do my best to avoid her and keep my distance. As far as I know, she's living with a friend of hers now and has been fired from her previous job. But I don't think I'll have to give her any alimony because of the very public confession of her infidelity on Facebook, thanks to her delusional belief that Matt would be serious about her at some point. I don't even need to prove that she'd been cheating because she did all the work for me herself. My kids are still not speaking to her, and we like to pretend that she doesn't even exist anymore. I know it's not exactly healthy, but we'll think about that later when some time has passed. Right now, it's way too fresh to be discussed. Emotionally, I'm doing a lot better than I was when I first posted here, and I know it'll just get better with time. I'm probably going to start therapy in a few days once I have more time after the divorce is finalized or something, and maybe that'll help me feel okay about everything eventually.